Marcus Rodriguez pushed his maintenance cart down the sterile corridors of the Kepler Research Institute, the wheels squeaking against the polished titanium floor. At 63, he had spent the last 15 years cleaning the laboratories where humanity's brightest minds studied artifacts from the long-dead Valdari civilization. The alien ruins on Europa had yielded hundreds of crystalline structures, each one dormant and unresponsive despite decades of analysis. The scientists barely acknowledged his presence as he emptied waste bins and sanitized workstations. Dr. Elizabeth Hawthorne, the project's lead xenoarchaeologist, had often remarked that the Valdari bloodline, whatever genetic key activated their technology, had been extinct for millennia. Marcus had overheard countless theories about quantum entanglement locks, biometric encryption, and DNA resonance frequencies. None of it made sense to a man who had dropped out of high school to support his family. Tonight was different. The emergency lighting cast eerie shadows across Lab 7 as Marcus entered to begin his routine cleaning. The primary artifact, a dodecahedron the size of a basketball, its surface covered in intricate geometric patterns, sat in its containment field as always. But something felt off. The air hummed with an almost inaudible frequency that made his teeth ache. Marcus approached the artifact cautiously, his industrial vacuum cleaner trailing behind him. The containment field flickered, unusual but not unheard of. Dr. Hawthorne's team had been running high-energy scans all week, pushing the lab's power grid to its limits. As he reached across to clean the dust accumulation on the containment unit's base, his elbow brushed against the field's edge. The room exploded with light. The artifact erupted into brilliant luminescence, its crystalline faces projecting holographic symbols that hung in the air like three-dimensional constellations. Marcus stumbled backward, his heart hammering against his ribs. The geometric patterns on the dodecahedron's surface flowed like liquid mercury, rearranging themselves into new configurations with each pulse of light. Then, impossibly, it spoke. Not in words, but in concepts that bloomed directly in Marcus's mind. He understood with perfect clarity that the Valdari had not simply vanished. They had transcended their physical forms, encoding their consciousness into quantum substrates scattered throughout their technology. But the activation key, the bloodline, wasn't genetic in the way human scientists had assumed. The Valdari had been a species that valued service above status, sacrifice above self. Their most advanced technologies responded not to DNA sequences or biometric patterns, but to something far more fundamental. The quantum signature of selflessness encoded in neural pathways shaped by a lifetime of putting others before oneself. Marcus felt the artifact scanning him, not his body but his history. 30 years of night shifts to put his daughter through medical school. 15 years of invisible labor, maintaining the spaces where others pursued glory. Decades of small kindnesses and forgotten sacrifices that had literally rewired his brain at the quantum level. The holographic interface materialized around him, responding to his thoughts with fluid grace. Through the artifact, he could sense the vast network of dormant Valdari technology scattered across the galaxy. Starships buried in asteroid belts, terraforming engines sleeping beneath ice sheets, computational matrices waiting in the dark between stars. All of it, waiting for someone whose consciousness had been shaped by service rather than ambition. Dr. Hawthorne's voice echoed from the corridor as she rushed toward the lab, drawn by the cascade of energy readings flooding the Institute's sensors. Marcus understood that his quiet life was about to become very complicated. The Valdari legacy wasn't extinct. It had simply been waiting for the right kind of human to inherit it. He smiled as the artifact's light painted rainbow patterns across his weathered hands. After 63 years of being invisible, Marcus Rodriguez had become the key to unlocking the greatest technological treasure in human history. The bloodline lived on, transformed and reborn in the humblest of hearts.